Hello, welcome to Lil's Vintage World. This video is going to be a book reviews video. Way. I'm going to be reviewing 3 classic books for you, all from the early to mid 20th century, which is the era in which I love to read so much. All 3 are from the same publishing house, which is Handheld Press, and they are an independent publisher based in Bath. Oh, don't we love Bath? Yes, we do. And they republish books that, for whatever reason, have gone out of print over the years. They also print biographies on specific authors as well, like Rose Macaulay, for instance. You know I love Rose Macaulay. And they do a wide range of different genres. So there should be, in their catalogue, a book for everyone, so you can go and check it out. I'll leave their website down below. Now, all 3 of these books are very me. You know me, I love early to mid 20th century books, very feminine. What is feminine? Feminine. Very women-driven stories. Let me stop waffling and let's get into it. So the first book that I'm going to share with you and review is There's No Story There, Wartime Writing 1944 to 1945 by Inez Holden. So this is a little collection. So there is a book called There's No Story There, and then there's also some writings as well. So There's No Stories There is from 1944, and then there's writings that precede that into 1945 as well, all by Inez Holden. Now, I'm going to primarily talk about There's No Story There. I will say I did enjoy the other writings as well. But There's No Story There I was really attracted to because this is set in the north and it's set at a munitions factory during the Second World War. And if you know me, if you've watched my channel for a very long time, you will know that my grandmother was a bomb girl during the Second World War. So she worked in a munitions factory during the Second World War. And so whenever I see any books like that, because my grandmother passed quite a few years ago now, to try and feel that closeness to her again, I always try to read it from someone else's perspective and be like, oh yes, I remember her telling me this and I remember her telling me that. And that was certainly the case here. There's certain bits of it where I was just like, oh yes, that feels very much like the types of story that my grandmother used to tell me. And I really liked it. It was quite different to what I was expecting though, because most of the books that you tend to read on this type of area, it's usually you follow a person as they're doing a job, but it isn't. It follows the factory, and although it follows the works of the factory, we get a whole array of different jobs and different people and different genders. So it's not just you're following the women of the munitions factory that's literally making the bullets or whatever it may be. You follow a wide range of different jobs, and it was really eye-opening actually. Really enjoyed it. Certainly, I don't want to say the word enjoyable because I don't think that's the correct term to use for this, but a real eye-opening, interesting read that if you're interested in learning the history of the Second World War, then this one I think is a wonderful book to go to. The next book that I want to share with you is one that I've actually already briefly spoken about on this channel, and that is Business as Usual by Jane Oliver and Anne Stafford. But because I was doing just a Handheld Press book reviews video, I was like, I've got to chuck this in, I've got to chuck it in because it's just so good. So Business as Usual is from 1933, my era, the 1930s, yes please. And we have this young woman called Hilary who moves from Edinburgh to London, and she gets a job in a department store working in like the book library system, and it is wonderful. This is such a good book. It's such a me book. We like books about books here, don't we? You'll like this. It kind of reminds me of Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day. It kind of has that feel about it, which if you didn't know is my favourite book of all time. And I would say if you like Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day, you'll really like this. I don't know, it's just some, I think it's the realism of the 30s that seeps through Miss Pettigrew, seeps through this one as well. I just really liked that one. It's told in letter format, and I just loved it because we have letters to her family, to her fiance, and we get to see the realities of her trying to make it on her own and her trying to work, and stretching the budget and what it's like doing long distance relationship in the 1930s and all these different things. And I absolutely loved Hilary so much. Such an amazing character. And as I said, I think if you really like books set in the 30s, you'll really like this, because it does kind of just feel like you're leaping back in time. Loved it. Oh, and I should also say, another Miss Pettigrew sort of feel has pictures. And Miss Pettigrew has pictures as well, doesn't it? So yeah, absolutely loved it. And last but certainly not least, I have Latchkey Ladies by Marjorie Grant. This has been recently republished by Handheld Press, and I actually pre-ordered this book because it sounded right up my street. Needed to get my hands on it. And if you pre-order from Handheld Press, chances are you'll get your copy early. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but there's a strong possibility. I got mine about 4 weeks before the release date, so I read it way ahead of time before other people, and it was a wonderful experience. This is originally published in 1921 and is about, it's about a house essentially where single working women can live in, and they kind of get together and they chat. They're all kind of like between the age of about 18 and kind of mid to late 20s. They're all single, they're all doing something for the war effort, or working in something. And it's about their lives being very different now than, say, what their lives would have been 10 years ago. Because at this age that they are, 10 years previously, they would have been expected to go out and find a husband and then make a nice house and think about children and all those types of things. But with the war going on, they don't have to. This is set at the tail end of the First World War, and so they don't have to have the same priorities as what they would have had 10 years previously. And that is what makes this book so wonderful, because it feels like it could have been written yesterday. And it feels like, well, it doesn't feel, it is about these strong women that I just fell for. I'm not gonna lie, the ending broke me. I was reading this book and I was enjoying it, right? I was just reading it nice and slowly, taking my time. I was like, yeah, it's really, really nice, really enjoying it. I mean, it's just shy of 300 pages. And I kind of, there's something that happens and I was like, drama happened. And then instead of reading it nice and slowly, I then kind of stepped on the gears a bit and really put my foot down on the gas, and I was like, okay, and I whizzed through the ending and it really broke me. It was such a powerful ending. I mean, good ending, yes, I think it's right for the story, but it broke me. At least I know, because I love rereading books, and I do look forward to reading this, as I do the other two as well. When I reread it, I know what's coming, so I'll just sit back and enjoy it, and I won't put my foot on the gas to reach the end to find out what happens. Oh, it was powerful. So yes, a wonderful book set at the tail end of the First World War, about these group of young women living in this boarding house essentially, and it's just wonderful and harrowing and funny, and all the emotions that you can feel as a human is in this book. So there we have it. That is my review for 3 of the Handheld Press books. So There Is No Story There by Inez Holden, a wartime book set at a munitions factory, Business as Usual by Jane Oliver and Anne Stafford, a 1930s novel about a young lady who leaves home for independence in the 1930s, and then Latchkey Ladies by Marjorie Grant, set during the end of the First World War, about a group of young women who are living independent lives. Wonderful. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. In the comments section, please let me know if you have read any of these 3, or are there any other books by Handheld Press that you have read that I need to get my hands on? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I shall see you again soon.